Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today, Quincy College President Dr. Rick DeCristofaro will be joining us shortly for an update. First, though, as always, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, some showers out there. It's kind of a raw day, 61 degrees. Right now, we'll see off and on rain and showers throughout the day today. Highs really won't budge from where they are in the low 60s. The rain will be steadier this evening and lows drop off into the mid-50s. Tomorrow will start out pretty damp with some morning showers and maybe some clearing late in the day tomorrow. Still pretty cool with highs only in the low 60s. But the first day of October on Sunday looks very nice. Mix of sun and clouds, milder, high around 70 degrees. And that kicks off a stretch of sunny, mild, dry weather right into the good part of next week with daytime highs in the low, perhaps mid and upper 70s and comfortable nights into the mid 50s. But for today and tomorrow, at least, we've got some rain and showers around. Again, 61 with light rain in Quincy right now. Checking out news for you today, Quarry Hills Associates of Quincy has withdrawn their proposal for a 99-year lease at the Granite Links Golf Club in Quincy for now. In a letter to the City Council, Quarry Hills President Thomas O'Connell said he pressed pause on the lease plans because the state still needs to upgrade the intersection of Verschutti Drive and Willard Street and because of the current economic challenges. During a debate here at QATV earlier this week, Mayor Thomas Koch and challenger Councilor at Large Ann Mahoney shared their thoughts on the future of Granite Links.
But I believe there's still 31 years left on that lease with the developer. So I'll continue to make sure that the fields are appropriate for our youth as they've enjoyed those. And we'll continue to make sure there's access on the walking trails, which was raised during this process. And I believe some of that has already been worked out with the developer. So again, it's a magnificent piece of property. It's a great asset to the city of Quincy. It wasn't always that way up there. That land has come a long way. It was mostly industrial space up there, which could have gone in a very different direction for the city.
So one of the things I will say is that it was a dump 21 years ago. It's not a dump anymore. So the new lease that's coming in has to benefit more than 10%. The formula just doesn't work. When you actually read the lease and you actually put money on the table and start to look at it, we're not actually getting the best deal for the taxpayers of the city of Quincy. I realize, again, it's been taken off the table. Really what we should be doing is focus. We could actually sublet that out to somebody else as well. We really have to protect our taxpayers. That's our space up there. That's our open space up there. The deal that was struck 21 years ago was to change it from a dump to a golf course. But now the deal is to take it back to our citizens.
The proposed 99-year lease had come under scrutiny by some city councilors and residents who felt it wasn't properly vetted to ensure the city was getting the best agreement. Quarry Hills has agreed to complete the drainage project for the playing fields at the end of this season and install hiking trail signs by the end of the year. Quincy police issuing a warning about drug overdoses and drugs laced with a drug that veterinarians use to sedate and euthanize animals. Back on Monday, police seized cocaine, fentanyl, and a handgun while searching a vehicle in the Walmart parking lot. Police say the drugs were laced with the veterinarian drug called xylazine. 26-year-old Ivan Sabalos from Boston was arrested and charged with drug trafficking and illegal possession of a firearm. Police say a canine found that gun in a hidden compartment of the vehicle and that it had a defaced serial number. Police say there were 4 non-fatal overdoses in Quincy in a 24-hour period earlier this week. The Drug Enforcement Administration also says they have seen an uptick in fake prescription pills laced with lethal doses of the opioid fentanyl. Well, the man wanted for the shooting death of 17-year-old Nathan Paul of Weymouth in Quincy last year was arraigned at Norfolk Superior Court in Dedham this week. Keniel Diaz Romero was returned to Massachusetts from Puerto Rico and charged with murder for Paul's death in February of 2022. Prosecutors say Romero shot Paul when Paul was selling THC vape cartridges in Germantown. Romero reportedly shot Paul after Paul had realized that Romero paid him using counterfeit money to purchase those vape cartridges. Then 18-year-old Javon Harris of Quincy was also arrested for Paul's murder last year, along with 4 juveniles, but Romero had fled to Puerto Rico. Quincy and state police traveled to Puerto Rico last week, brought Romero back to face charges. He was ordered held without bail earlier this week. City of Boston is moving ahead with plans to rebuild the Long Island Bridge. Just yesterday, Mayor Michelle Wu's administration put out a request for proposals for a project manager to oversee the bridge reconstruction. The bids are due back to Boston on October 20th. Wu says she wants a manager in place by the end of the year. Now, Boston still needs approvals from the state and the Coast Guard before bridge building can begin. And the city of Quincy continues to appeal those approvals that Boston's already obtained. Mayor Thomas Koch is vowing to fight the bridge plan, citing concerns about negative traffic impacts and potential future development on Long Island. Boston says it wants to rebuild the bridge and reopen a substance use treatment center on the island. Mayor Wu says she hopes the bridge can reopen in 4 years. Well, Interfaith Social Services here in Quincy says they'll be able to purchase an additional 5,000 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables for their food pantry with the money that they'll save by having a new solar energy system donated to them. Summit Energy of Mansfield recently installed the new solar system worth almost $126,000 on the roof of Interfaith's headquarters on Adams Street in Quincy Center. Summit says they perform acts of kindness every year on the date of the company's founding, September 19th. This year, Summit donated the solar system to Interfaith officials. The city, Interfaith officials, and officials from Summit all gathered for a ribbon-cutting ceremony on September 19th to celebrate Summit's donation. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, we sit down with Quincy College President Rick DeCristofaro. Next. Welcome back. Time for another one of our periodic updates that we get from the folks at Quincy College, either a department head, a program, or a different course that's being offered. But this time, you're fortunate because the president is here. Dr. Rick DeCristofaro is back on our program to tell us how things are going right across the way here in Quincy Center. Good to see you, Rick.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. We were just talking before we came back on the air here about what an asset the institution has been since the 1950s.
It's not in 1958, yeah. It actually started in 1952-53 with parents from Germantown and Adams Shore wanting their children, or their young adults at that point, to have college right here versus to go into Boston or go anywhere else. So that's really a start. That was the link between the Quincy School Committee for such a long time until the early 90s and the Board of Governors came on. Great history.
And it's had many different iterations over the time, I know, and locations as well, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But you're situated right now in President's Place, right downtown, in the heart of all the hub and bub.
Terrific.
Yeah. How's it been going this fall?
Really great, really great. I'll back up just a wee bit and look at the summer sessions, both summer sessions, with 35 to 40% above budget, and part of that is new students, but the other part is the early college high school program. We had Early College Academy, and there were 175 students from North Quincy and Quincy there, and we blended it with YouthWorks from Mass Higher, so the students had jobs as well as one course or two courses that they took. So the summer 1 and 2 were very, very good enrollment, tuition, and then this fall, we're up right now. We're up 10%, but and then you have the drop. That terrible time where all of a sudden students either decide not to show or not to be a part of the college, even though they've registered. So we'll probably end up being 4 or 5% above, which is better than last year. So we're improving in a lot of different areas. The international program is almost 100% increased in students.
Wow.
The veterans about 25 or 30% increase in students. And looking at the nursing is 18%. We did some really wonderful things. I didn't really do much, but we're a team right now on cable, and the whole nursing group worked with Bay State when Bay State was going out of business, basically, in their nursing program. Their nurses needed year 2 to finish. And our nurses worked and our provost worked with the Department of Higher Education and had those students come here to Quincy College and get the courses that they need, and so they've continued into the fall and the spring. So, you know, 17, 20 students came in, so that's a really good thing. Not only is it great for the students, it's great for the college to get different students to come in as well and blend with the current students. So, a great program. So
Bay State Community College, you're talking? Okay, yeah. So, all right, so you picked up the slack there as well. Where's the nursing program certification process right now, Rick?
Yeah, what we're doing, we August 14th, we sent in our full program approval. So Bourne had a meeting in September. For whatever reason, they didn't have any institutions on it, any educational institutions, but we're assured December that will be on the agenda. So that we're really looking forward to that, because that may certainly extend our baccalaureate offerings. You know, we have the 3, and then this would be, we hope, we keep working for number 4, and that number 4 could certainly be a nursing baccalaureate, which would be great, because our students want that. They want to stay right with us and continue. So that's another thing, and maybe biology. You know, that we're looking at that, because that program is very healthy at the college.
So would that, you'd have to expand staff at that point if that does happen?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
How is the staffing situation going right now?
Staffing is the nursing is very difficult, because many of the nurses prefer to be part-time, because then they can work at a hospital all hours, you know, and it's really hard for them, but it's very difficult to pass up. You know, the opportunities for their families. You know, so we're doing very well, but I think the part-time staff are really chipping in and helping us make sure we have a really great class size for our students.
Okay, because there is still such a, actually just earlier this week I met 2 Quincy High School seniors that want to go into nursing in their, you know, higher education. So there, I mean, there's a tremendous interest and a need as well.
There is, and you know, I want to make sure that we capitalize on North Quincy and Quincy, because those students, as we all know, they're just great kids, first of all. And if they have this in their heart that they want to help more, you know, we should be able to keep them right here. And that's why, you know, for scholarships, we can keep them there. If they're early college, they get a year free. And then they can do what they want to do. And then it's our job to retain them and make sure they stay with us.
Yes, absolutely.
But great kids.
Yeah. You mentioned 3 baccalaureate programs. Maybe for folks who don't know, if you could review those for us.
Yeah. Our business, we're going into our 2nd full year of business, and that's very well enrolled. Computer science started probably about a year ago. And then we have psychology that we started in September, this fall semester. So, and they're all doing very well. They're all doing very well. So we're really proud of the vision, you know, to look at the baccalaureates, because community colleges cannot offer them. So we're unique in that way, and we can have articulation agreements that bring students here from those community colleges when they finish in those areas. They can come right here and finish their 2 years. It's very, very affordable. And our professors, our culture is very much like those community colleges. So the transition is pretty simple and really well-meaning.
Sure. You know, we forget sometimes that you have a Plymouth location as well. Are the same offerings there that are offered in Quincy?
Not the same.
No.
I think the nursing, yes. The physical therapy assistant. We have pharmacy tech down there as well as Quincy. And then all the courses are there. There are times where, because the enrollment there is not as enrollment rich as Quincy, that the students either can take them online. And so it's you know, they don't have to leave the Plymouth area at all to take those courses. But yeah, and I think the future, the vision of Plymouth is to create more programs down there. I mean, we can have another biotech, you know, a program down there, mini program to start, just to see, you know, just to see whether it catches on or not. So there's some real opportunities there, and it's a beautiful place. So,
seeing as you brought it up, the biotech program, congratulations, by the way, on a Life Sciences Biodiversity Award.
Yeah, so many students that we have are really underrepresented students, families, that biotech really gives them a certificate or an associate's degree. But these students are hired immediately. The return on investment is unbelievable because if they're in a 2-year program, we have, for instance, Takeda will come and hire the students right there and say, okay, what's your schedule? We'll go by your schedule.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So the return on investment is great, but the opportunities are unbelievable in the biotech, good manufacturing area.
I know that the Mass Life Sciences Center really supported the program from the get-go.
Yeah.
Going back quite a ways now.
Yes,
Really
yeah.
on the,
yeah,
on
so
the,
this award, Ken
groundbreaking.
Turner was there
Yeah.
from Mass Life Science, and I talked with him, and he just loves the school. He loves the school. He loves to our professors. He's visited 2 or 3 times, and he touts, our program as a model in the state. So he's a great partner, and we want to continue getting grants from him in order to help our students go further without the cost that it may be. Yeah.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about your partnership with Jewish Vocational Services. I
Yeah.
know you talked about this last time you were here.
Yes,
And you
yeah.
were excited about it.
Yeah, Arlington Street is open.
Okay.
Our lab is open. We have CNA programs going right now. We also have biotech will begin just a little bit later, maybe December. It's the building itself is completed. It's beautiful. It's a certificate of occupancy. Everything's great.
We have a couple of pictures we can show folks actually.
Oh, that'd be
while
great.
You're telling us that there's the outside of the building right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So AR Lab.
Yeah, our lab,
Our
like
lab.
Arlington,
Okay.
Arlington Street. Yeah,
I saw it down the south end.
Be
Okay.
honest, it wasn't my favorite. There were other titles, but I lost out on that.
Okay.
But our lab is great, and they want people looking at it know that it's a laboratory setting. It's
Yes.
health sciences, it's life sciences. So
Yeah.
that's why they came up with that.
All
so,
right, all
so
right.
it's okay with me because we're there and we're helping a tremendous amount of students,
Yes.
and also partnering with Children's Hospital, with Mass General
Oh.
Hospital. So we have that other piece, and I hope to get an advisory board with those hospitals and just to say, okay, what else can we do with JVS
Yeah.
right there? But JVS also enrolls. So a lot of those students that we have come directly from Jewish Vocational Services. So it's a great partnership.
Yep. So we have a picture of the inside lab we can show folks
Yeah.
actually and get a sense for, I mean, these are mannequins obviously.
Yes.
I'll point that out.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a fully functioning experience that these students get, right?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. And it's interesting because when we started talking about this, JVS was looking at, who would do it. And actually, I talked to Mayor Koch, and he suggested, well, why don't you try to work with Lee Kennedy? He's doing work right around that area
Yep.
in Boston, and we did. And they've been unbelievable.
Oh, okay.
Mike Ryan, a facilities person from our college, has also been in there far more than he ever thought he'd be there. So it's a great building. And it's a beginning, and that's what we talk about with the board. It's a great beginning. Where do we see it going? Yeah, we see it going to a place where we have more revenue, which is great, but it's a way to brand in a very different way.
Yeah.
And that's great for the college.
I do want to read a little bit more about the award that you've won
Yes.
for biodiversity, because I think it's important. It's recently singled out for its contributions to diversity, equity, and inclusion in education by representatives of the state's life sciences industry. We have a picture of you receiving the award actually with your staff that we'll show folks.
That's great.
As soon as we get that up,
Sure,
we'll
that's
show it to
okay.
folks.
Yeah.
But congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're very proud of it. And I wrote back immediately when they told me about the award. I wrote back and said, we will be there, and we're so very proud. And I think it's something that really is not just about that award for that program, but we do that at several programs.
Really?
A lot of our students really come to us with needs other than simply education,
Yeah.
and we take care of everyone. And the biotech is so great because as we work with these students, that return on investment, that occupation is immediate. So they see a light at the end of the tunnel, and we like to make it bright enough so they see it,
Yeah.
and they really have a vision for themselves and their families.
And as I understand it, a lot of the students in the program are students of color.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I mean, looking back or looking at, we take pictures of all the cohorts, and it's really like the United Nations. It's really beautiful to see. And these students working together with the instructor, really in teams and pods, is terrific. So, yeah, I would say that upwards to 70 to 80% of these students are students of color.
Is that right?
Students that are, just in that underrepresented category, but what a great thing.
Yeah. Do you also see it as maybe a change of career, midlife for folks?
Yeah. I think when you look at the ages, not a lot of these students that come to us from JVS, or students that come to the college for bio, are really, they're most people are that 23 and older,
Okay.
25 to 40. You know, maybe some have degrees and want to come in and just kind of get this associate's or certificate to advance themselves to another part of the biotech area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have the picture, by the way. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. That's all right.
But
No
it did happen.
Yes, it did. It did. And we were proud to be there.
Absolutely. Community health worker program.
Yeah.
Certificate program.
Great program.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's really only two that are licensed in the state.
Oh.
2 programs, and we're one of them. The other one's in Western Massachusetts. So we look at research a lot, you know, and we had an analysis done in the spring from Titan Associates to take a look at, you know, where we have been, where we are, and where we could be. And one of those areas in workforce development, you know, is another rich area that we offer, is the community health care worker. There's just a ton of need in that area for students to gain that knowledge, get a certificate, and then go into homes and really make a difference, work for a lot of different organizations. So we're really proud of that program. October 5th, the graduates will have 15 of the first graduating class.
Okay.
So we'll have representatives from the Department of Higher Education there. Mayor Koch will be there. It's exciting, really exciting. You know, again, making a difference in a very short period of time to so many students and their families.
And could they go on and say at Manna Community Health Center, perhaps?
Absolutely, yeah. They're a great partner.
Okay.
Great partner, you know. And Cynthia, we talked to her a lot about a lot of different things. She's a gift to this community and gift to Quincy.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Can we ask you a little bit about the Mass Reconnect program,
Yes.
Rick? And
Yep.
this is the new state program for basically free college for people 25 and older, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And we have a pretty high percentage. I mean, 40%, 44% of our population is that older, just
Yeah.
as we're talking about with biotech,
Right.
you know. So it's important to us, and it was also important. I had discussions with His Honor, the Mayor, Mayor Koch, discussions with Ron Mariano from a state leadership perspective. And I think they thought very highly that, you know, obviously we needed to be a part of that, because it's written in a way, it's community college.
That's
No,
right.
It says public and community colleges.
Oh.
So, you know, choose whatever you want. We could be a community,
Cool.
but not. We don't want to be part of the 15
Right.
community, but certainly we're a public college. And it didn't appear that we were going to be part of that, but I think working with the mayor and working certainly with the Speaker of the House, Ron Mariano, it really helped take a look at what our needs are and what the benefit would be for us. So we have an agreement with the state and with the Department of Higher Education that we have targeted assistance scholarships. So we received $1.6 million to do exactly what Reconnect is, but it's just labeled in a different way.
Okay.
So we advertise it, publicize it as part of Mass Reconnect, but we were just a bit aside from that.
You're
And
special.
yes, we're very special, very unique, but we had people that really helped us in that regard, and I
Yeah.
think that made a significant difference. So we have information sessions now, so we're sharing, you know, with as many students that want to hear about that, either current or prospective students. So
Or former students, right? Former Quincy College
Yes,
students to
yeah,
come back,
yeah,
and
yeah,
finish
so-
if they didn't finish.
yeah, it's really a great idea, and the
Yeah.
governor should be really commended for her vision in that regard. So we just want to stay a part of it to benefit as many students and families as we can.
Well, it's making higher education accessible to folks who might not otherwise pursue it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be
Yeah.
able to do it right here in Quincy as well, sure.
Yeah.
Only a couple of minutes left, but anything else we should touch on right now?
No, I think, you know, some of the things. I mean, we're continuing. Again, we mentioned the baccalaureate. We're continuing with our radiology program.
Yes.
It's really doing unbelievable. We're so proud of that. We talked about JVS. But I think the board of governors really doing a great job with us, and very much a part of Quincy College. And Right now, we're looking at actual investments. We have reserves, that were built up over the past 3 years. So the Board of Governors have basically said, well, what are you doing with that, President? And I said, really not all that much. I mean, we're getting some return, investing, but they want to do much more. So working with the Bartholomew Group, that's advisors, we're working with them to see what we should be doing in regard to investing, which would bring funding right directly back to our budget. And the other thing we're working on is the foundation. Right now we have the Quincy College Trust, and it's done well, but the vision is to do even more, with connections to alumni, to business partners, to create an endowment, that will really be great for our scholarships. So on one hand, we're looking to get more scholarships for our students through the foundation, and then the other part would be to invest our reserves in order to bring more funding to our budget.
Sure.
So those two things are really good. They've worked also on our strategic plan. I just want to give them a lot of credit because they're really working hard with us.
Please come back.
Yes, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. And thank you for everything you do for the city of Quincy. You are the voice and the face. It used to be just the voice, but now they added the face. So we're lucky to have you in the city of Quincy. I'll tell you that right now.
Thank you.
And Quincy Cable.
It's a team
Jonathan
effort here.
as well.
Absolutely,
really.
yeah.
We're
Good to
very
see you
proud
again,
of you.
Rick.
Thank you
You're
for
very
everything you
welcome.
do.
Just enough time, check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today and tomorrow. It's going to wet and damp, but we look ahead to October, which begins on Sunday. Right through next week, we've got sunny days and clear, cool nights, so we'll look forward to that. Thanks again to Rick Cristofaro for joining us here in the program. Thank you to our crew. Thank you for watching Monday. The headmaster from the Woodward School will be here. Meantime, check our website, qatv.org. There's our latest programs, news and information, video on demand, and more. For all of us at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great weekend.